Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dragon Age Season 3 campaign, also known as Dragon Age Ascension. The group is finally together. The group have actually started interacting with each other somewhat and got into glorious combat and received some pretty cool toys in the process. So, before we dive in, let us get ourselves warmed up with this warm-up question, which is a warm-up question that I have asked possibly in every single campaign that I've asked near the beginning, and that is simply, now that your PCs have actually started interacting with each other, first impressions are very important. So which of the other 4 PCs does your character, in character, trust the most? And which one do they trust the least? And why?
So, obviously, Pasha trusts Rousseau the most.
Yay.
She raised him for a few years when he was a kid. They bonded over the death of his mother. Like, there's that whole thing. For who she trusts least, obviously it's going to be a toss-up between Tionthem and Leon because they're both mages.
Thank you.
However, out of the two, Leon has also shown that he's a liar.
Really?
Yes, because when with the arm, and he after she grabbed Tyrion, he kept saying, "No, there were clowns. It's all clowns." And it's like, dude, the other one told the truth, dude. Stop lying. So
got it.
He's a mage and a liar. I'm sorry.
But to be fair, because you know Rousseau very well, you also know he was a thief. Kinda, sorta, or was trying to be a thief.
That's the thing. I don't know that he ever did steal anything. I know that I stopped him from stealing something.
Right, attempted thievery. Okay, so attempted thievery. Yeah.
Like as far as Pasha is aware, he was a terrible thief, and now he's gone on to become a fellow one who speaks. So she's just like, good dude.
It's like giving the benefit of the doubt to Rousseau.
So, of course, Leon has at least some relationship with Tyrion.
Except the ship.
Hashtag Tion. Hashtag Tion.
Quote-unquote friendship.
Oh, no. I mean, we do have to leave.
Quote-unquote friendship.
Quote-unquote.
He lied. The conjoined twins and some other things on the side. So,
you never know. You
never know. But anyway, he's
the door's still open.
Yeah, no, you know. They were children, so you know, what is it? The childhood friend?
Yeah.
You two teases.
And then, you know, he has the previous relationship with Tyrion, so you know, of course, he probably trusts him the most. But you know, Darethem's doing a little shady Daretham things over there, and so he probably trusts him the least. But he's probably the most intrigued with Daretham because, you know, fellow mage, but not like circle mage. That's for sure. So be interesting to see, you know, how Daretham sort of works.
So, like Calista said, right now the only person that Rousseau really kind of trusts is Pasha, simply because she's the only one he knew out of the group previous to this whole thing. And then I feel like least trusted because he's a very slow person to warm up to people or trust them, even though he might put on the appearance that, like, I'm fine, I'll talk to you. He's in constant observation mode. Would probably be Daretham, simply because when he tried to interact with Daretham was very, like, shuddery and, like, looked away when Rousseau tried to get a better look at him.
Kind of the answer for both is everyone at this point.
Okay.
Just because Daretham is like more specifically, even though he doesn't trust himself the most, especially with other people. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter who you put there. He doesn't really trust himself with them because there's always the chance that he can get a wound, drop of blood can go in their mouth, suddenly ghoul shit. But in terms of, like, out of the people, I'd say he probably trusts Pasha the most, because I feel like out of everyone, he can, like, get a read on her. Like, he's able to see, okay, I can see what she's about. I can kind of see what her deal is. And least, I don't know, it's either Rousseau or Leon. Leon, because just honestly because of the fact he's another mage, and that could be an issue, especially if taint magic or stuff is brought up, and it's a dangerous topic for him to start talking about without revealing stuff. But also Rousseau, because I feel like there is some small animosity there. And it's more like an instinctual feeling. So yeah.
I think the person that Tyrion will trust the most, and to just set this aside, Tyrion at the moment trusts everyone. He's a gullible person, so everyone to him, he's automatically gonna. They're already on the side, no matter what. So for him, the person he's gonna trust the most would be Leon, because Leon, of course, childhood past, or at least childhood, like when he was in that whole scene that happened in session 1. He knows him as this mage doctor of sorts, but instead it's more of a healer type, using the healing magic instead of the natural causes that Tyrion does. Even though there's a slight less distrust, unfortunately, because he did lie to a couple of people who were at the circus, so you can't really. There's a bit of some shade there. And then the person who's going to trust the least, unfortunately, will be Pasha. Pasha did make a grab on Tyrion's arm, and it did bring lots of bad memories. And he sees Pasha as a person doesn't understand the concept of personal space. That's what he sees, and it's not much of a problem, but it's there, and it could cause trouble, maybe. So, yeah. But even with that, she's still like the positive level. It's just like she's like at the +5, maybe. Everyone else is like higher than that, so that's why. So everyone is still on the level of I trust all of you because I'm gullible.
Also, real quick, I do want to, because I somehow completely forgot that Tyrion was a slave. So, revise my answer. Probably also Tionthem would trust Tyrion because he had that moment of connection to being like, oh, slave, okay, I really understand you. So, forgot about that, but yeah.
Was that during conversation that you found out he was a slave?
They did the same bow.
They did the same to Venture bow, and I saw how he flinched with the arm, so I was just like,
Got it.
Yeah. I see you, buddy.
Cool.
Fist bump.
So, let's get back into where we left off. Now, we actually ended right after the battle stopped. So you just defeated not just one dragon, but 5 dragons. Granted, they were younger dragons, but still, dragons are dragons, and dragons are still powerful even at that age.
Dargans be scary, man.
Yeah. And you also gained these new abilities. Now, this is the part as a GM where it's a little bit tough, because I essentially gave you an instruction manual. Like, here, game mechanics, this is how it all works, yada, 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 which doesn't always translate very well in-game, in real life, unless you actually have an NPC or some document explaining this is what you have and this is how this works. So the way I can explain this in character, just because I need an explanation as to why you know that you can slot this and unequip that and whatever, I'm just going to say that in the back of your minds, there's this feeling like you had this repressed memory or something that you had long forgotten, even though you don't recall ever knowing this knowledge ever, but somehow it's almost like a lost memory that unlocked in your head that gave you a Matrix style flooded information. Pretty much Matrix style. It just gave you this.
We just wake up and we go, guys, I know dragon chakras.
Right, exactly.
We just go, whoa.
Whoa.
So again, if you're all in Roll20, I'm assuming whoever is wherever on the map is where they are on the map. For some reason, Leon is just straggling back there, unless he wants to join the rest of the group. But we do have Rosie and Nathan there as well.
Okay.
Weren't we holding hands in a circle as well?
Yeah.
We were.
We were.
Looks, except Darthan was doing like the.
We're the actual circle of fate now.
Hey.
I like how Tyrion just absorbed Leon on the map.
I that's strange. It feels like magic, but I don't feel any connection to the Fade.
What was that?
Did you all hear the voices too?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe I did.
Wait, is what Rosie says. Do you guys suddenly have marks on your bodies or something? Maybe you're a new breed of Pentavive Guardians.
Leon holds up his or rubs his bug
Yeah,
bite.
I'm gonna roll back my long sleeve where I remember the rash being.
There's no marks.
Yeah.
None of you will. If you guys will search your bodies, even the places where you got bit, you don't see any.
So the
any
bumps are
marks.
gone too.
The bumps are gone?
I think the bumps would heal over time.
Okay.
So if they're freshly bitten, they'll still be there, but they would. I wouldn't consider them marks. You wouldn't consider them marks.
Mosquito bites.
Mosquito bites, maybe.
Yeah.
And then when Rosie says marks, Darthan would look over and say, "I have quite a few." Just looking down at his bandage-covered body.
Oh, that might have been
Not
a
alone
little
on that.
insensitive of me. Sorry.
Not alone on that front.
It's all right.
Pentavive Guardians. Do you have any experience with them or know of them? This seems like something a Pentavive Guardian would know about, but it is different and not at all like elements.
Doesn't feel like it.
Not
I
at
heard
all.
the word. I heard the word. Chakra. I think.
Chakra, yeah. Yes. Dragon chakra, I think was the words.
Dragon chakra. I have no idea what that means, Nathan says.
There's only 5 of us out of the 7 chakras.
I mean, it's safe to assume you two didn't hear anything, right?
Both Nathan and Rosie shake their heads. So you heard voices?
Can I ask, who is Pasha holding hands with?
Your pick.
I don't. You can pick
Looks
if you want to
like
pick.
Leon and Rousseau.
Well, Leon on Rousseau it is. I'm gonna say you can feel Pasha's nails slowly digging into your skin very hard.
I'm going to slowly take my hand off of whoever else I'm held to and be like, okay, it's fine.
And she's gone quite pale. And she's just got like a 50-yard stare off into the distance.
You okay, Matron Pasha?
Pasha?
Here, get one of those cookies. Maybe the smell will rouse her.
Who was with her? Rosie or Nathan? Do you have any cookies?
We can get some. Actually, no. As she looks towards the stand where they're selling the cookies, and it's right now burned. It's not burning at the moment.
Oh crap!
They'll just be extra crispy, but yeah.
No.
I think Pasha just very suddenly lets go of the two of you. Just no, and she backs up. No.
I'm going to very slowly be like, okay, everyone just give her space. Then I'm going to slowly walk up to Pasha. Do you need to sit down, Pasha? I know this is a lot.
That would be fantastic. No. And she's gonna go find a seat.
Yeah, I'll help her down on one of the logs next to the fire.
while that's happening, and look around like how bad is like the circus right now, burnt up or like frozen or whatever effects happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the fire is the most concerning thing. So I'm gonna say that several, like for example, there's a ring of fire over here. So I think Nathan is sort of going to go and help some of the people are going to start trying to put the fire out. So Nathan's going to help with that.
Tionthem will actually, assuming that no one talks to him at all, he'll also go and start picking up buckets and helping out with that.
Okay.
Leon.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Should we just go around and see if there's anyone injured?
Yes, that'd probably be for the best. There were a lot of children, and it'd be awful if they found any of this.
I pull out bandages. Let's get to work then.
As always.
Yep, that's a life. So.
And speaking of wounds, you guys will notice that Tionthem is limping slightly. It's not noticeable, but probably to healers, you guys can see that he's still injured to some degree.
I'll look at Tyrion and be like, I should probably help him because he's already got way too many bandages on him.
We should, yeah. Go. I'll see if there's anything. I'll see if there's anyone else. I'll meet you up later.
Okay. Good luck.
Give him thumbs up. I'm just gonna run around and I'm just gonna check out, like, gonna help out those who have been like maybe injured, suffered injuries. If any of them, I'll try to like treat. I try not to use any bandages, but try to like help them out naturally without the use of bandages unless necessary. So.
Yeah, I'll just say that you go up to random people. There have been some injuries. Unfortunately, there have been a few casualties, like maybe 3 people died during this attack because of the ferocity of the dragons. Many injured, like a dozen people have injured in various degrees. But for the most part, a lot of people are just asking a lot of questions. A lot of people are scared. Where did all those dragons come from? We haven't seen certainly one dragon in forever, much less 5 dragons in one place. And then you might even overhear. Actually, both Leon and Tyrion roll a perception hearing, please.
Should Tionthem do as well because he's helping with the fires and stuff?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, 16 on my side.
12?
10, but with a 1 point stunt.
Okay, so Tyrion, you're gonna overhear somebody saying, mentioning something about how they heard rumors that another blight might be happening, and then they're like, well, blight, what does that have to do with dragons? And then another person is saying, no, that rumor got debunked because the Grey Wardens officially from Weishaupt, like there was a report from Weishaupt that the Grey Wardens said, no, like forget what you heard about the blight, there is no blight happening. But it was, yeah. But then there's like an argument over whether or not whose source is actually like legit or not.
I'll put that in the back of my mind. Blight, not a blight. Though this doesn't seem like to be a blight anyway. And I'm going to go out. Any injured person that we found, I'm gonna. I imagine like circus, like some of the circus like helpers stuff, and I'm gonna ask them out like, hey, any injured people you see, get them to the main area.
Infirmary.
Yeah, infirmary.
Okay. Sure. So
they can be treated there. And that's what I'll be doing while Leon helps out Tionthem.
Okay. Yeah. So let's focus on. Since we're already on this topic, let's focus on the Tionthem, Tyrion, Leon group. So is any interaction happening between any of the 3 of you? Just out of curiosity.
Leon and Tionthem.
Okay.
Hey, buddy. I see that you're sort of limping there. Let me help you out.
It's all right. I've had worse. Your healing is better used on the other injured civilians.
But, mobility is a huge issue, especially around fire and the like. It may be best if we make sure ourselves are in tip-top shape. Let me just... He's gonna, slowly reach out.
I would know that healing magic requires touch, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then I would still kind of just shy away. Leon, you wouldn't see it as like a flinch, but it's definitely like a purposeful nope shift, as he says.
At the very least, do me last. I should be fine with just using water.
Yes, but to be a little cheesy, I think we're all connected by fate, and we're the only ones to well, fight off these dragons. It'd be a shame if another dragon were to pop by and we're not here to protect everyone.
And he kind of cocks his head like, all right, okay, sort of, I get it. But then he says,
Still, I would say helping civilians is more important than someone who is able-bodied enough to fight.
Though I do understand your plight, I'd much rather not force the issue. In my professional healing opinion, it'll just be a quick little bop. And so as he goes bop, he's going to like quickly touch you.
Okay.
I will say Tionthem starts to retract, but he's not fast enough. So you can touch his arm like right as he tries to flinch back.
Heal?
I guess, Hark, would it require skin-to-skin contact, or would it just be like touching on the bandages would be fine?
I honestly don't know. Like, does it have to be?
It just has a range of 0.
It just has it's a touch. You just, as long as you touch the person.
You
Well-
could say the bandages aren't all covering, so there'd be like a few cracks in between.
Yeah, there'd be a few cracks, but that's more just up to like a thematic.
Yeah, I'd like to believe. So, for example, in Dragon Age, it's very people are normally heavily armored. Like
Yeah.
Alistair, for example, can have full armor from head to toe. So it might be crazy difficult to just reach out in the back of his head, for example. So I'm thinking, just mechanically, it can go through armor clothing.
Yeah.
So you can touch the person, armor, and everything they're wearing, and it'll still affect.
Yeah.
So I'll say that.
And he'll try to retract, but you'll able to just bop him right before he fully gets back.
And I pass the difficulty. So you get I'll do 2d6. 7 points of healing.
I think I took
Okay.
8. I think I took 8 points, so I'm like 1 down.
Ayo.
All right. Cool.
All right. And immediately you would see he stands up a little bit straighter as the energy rushes into him. Though even at this close, Leon would probably hear a very, very subtle just hiss of like relief that Tionthem can't help but let out. And then he'll kind of calm down after the flinch.
My thanks, Leon.
Sorry to be a little overbearing, but as one of the only other mages I know outside of the circle, I think we should stick together.
It is been my knowledge that us magic users should generally confide in one another, I suppose. At least in these parts.
Especially, I don't know what secrets you have, and you're fine to keep them, but I think that we'll need both of us to figure out this chakra thing.
That is true enough, yes. Very well. Leon, just one condition.
Yes.
You may heal me, but ensure that the doctor doesn't.
I'll try my best. I'll let him know.
Thank you.
And then they go their separate way.
Okay. Is Tyrion interacting with anyone in particular?
I was actually gonna say, would I have been able to, like, probably I was like helping someone else, would I be able to like see them, like interact a little bit from a distance, maybe?
I would say so. If you want to see anything specifically, then I would ask you to roll. But you can see them interacting at least.
Yeah, did I see like Leon just the touch on?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. I will as Leon goes, I kind of will see him go. I'm going to kind of go up to Daretham. You okay there?
Yes, Tyrion, I'm much better.
Mm-hmm. Now, don't worry about him. I kind of look at Leon. He's a decent, good healer. Probably better than me, I have to say.
Magic has its unique benefits.
Well, of course it does. We all know that. Well, anyway, I know you two are magey in some ways. I saw you how you fought, so I know your style. But don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
And Daretham chuckles a little bit internally, thinking, "Oh, if only you know." But he will. You can kind of see the bandages on his face like crinkle a little bit as you imagine there's a smile underneath as he says,
Thank you, Tyrion.
and he'll give a small like bow that would be like Tyrion would be familiar with.
Yeah. Like I do the kind of same thing in a very odd way, and I give him the raised eyebrow. So we know the trade. Oh well. All right, better get to help some people here.
Indeed.
And
they need us more than we need each other right now.
yeah, we'll talk later. Grab buckets.
So basically, Tyrion saw Leon chatting it up with Daretham, and Tyrion's like, goes right to Daretham. You so.
It's a trifecta. It's the two mages, the two different slaves,
Right.
they're all
He
connected.
just saw them interacting on the ship and was like, let me get in on that.
Please, one ticket on the shipping train, please.
No, that was more of a Mass Effect joke where you just see people talking, be like, oh, hey.
Tyrion's like, so listen, Daretham, Leon's mine. So, listen, Daretham, I see the two of you are starting to get a little friendly, so let's just make sure it remains friendly. I see one of you've already gotten to first base, touching. One of you's already gotten to first base, so
which will turn out to be more connected, the leaves or the mage?
Oh no.
Oh,
just so you know, Leon touched me first back in the day. He was 7 at the time. There we go. And I was 10. But anyway.
we're gonna have the triple shipping.
Right.
The Tionthem.
Yeah.
So
The first triangle.
The first one.
the first love triangle.
Tionthem.
Tionthem. Wow.
Operated.
That's the title of part 1, Tionthem.
Yeah.
There you go, Hart. There you go.
Okay.
So meanwhile, I'd like to go back and focus on Pasha and Rousseau. Because right now I think Pasha's having a crisis at the moment, and Rousseau's with
Anxiety
her.
attack.
Yeah, after I set her down, I'm going to go pick my hammer up off the ground, just belt it back over my shoulder, then head back to Pasha. Okay, Pasha. It's nothing bad. You know Sarah Boss.
I think she's talking very rapidly to herself in Cunlat, but I think you could probably make out a repetition of Arvarad and Vidasala, just like Arvarad, Vidasala, Vidasala, Arvarad, like it's very fast paced. She's kind of not stopping for breath.
Oh, sorry. Before you move on, for the viewers who don't know anything about those words, can you translate just for the viewers out of character?
So Arvarad is the group of Kunari who look after a Cerebus, a mage. There's maybe 5 or 6 Arvarad to a single mage. And Vidasala is a role under the Kun where basically they study magical items, magical effects, effects, that kind of thing, and they focus on dampening those effects.
And can you also explain, since many people might not actually know, how do the Kunari treat the Cerebos, or what did he do to Cerebos?
Okay, so Cerebos are, as I said, there's one Cerebos to an Arvarad. The Arvarad is kind of responsible for keeping an eye on. It's keeping an eye on them. Cerebos, if I'd like it stated, if the Cerebos hasn't done anything, if they've not disobeyed the Qun in any way, they're just kind of left to be. It's when they start, like, oh, this Cerebos was we found them practicing blood magic. We found them trying to escape, in which case it's a cut out the tongue, sew up the mouth.
Sew up the mouth. Mm-hmm.
And I think if they keep trying to do kind of shady things, then it's a case of now we give them Sargamek, which is the Kunari version of tranquility, except it's not just used on mages. It can be used on anyone who is being a bit awkward.
Okay, cool. All right, continue.
So,
Pasha, common, please.
Sorry. What do you people call them? The magic people, but not the magic people. Templars. There must be Templars around here. There are Templars everywhere in the Sabist, everywhere.
There are, but are you okay?
I will be. Oh, I need to breathe. And I think she's kind of got like her head kind of between her knees. She's doing like lots of deep breathing. And I think she kind of stops for a minute and she kind of sits bolt upright and she looks at Russo and she says, your boy, where is your boy?
I told him to stay behind in the big top. Let's go find him, and then we'll explore this further.
Thank you. She's kind of gonna link your arm as she stands up, and she kind of like she gives like your hand that kind of pat and a bit of a rub.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looks up at you, and she doesn't say anything, but she gives you a very grateful smile and like very warm eyes as she just kind of looks at you and is like,
we're just gonna give a bit of a smirk back and nod, and we'll slowly make our way back to the big top to go find Balin.
All right. So the two of you go to the big top. There's, again, many people have, who, even if they weren't watching the show, many people have gone into the big top for some semblance of protection during the attack. So it's very crowded in there. A lot of people, again, are confused. You can see some of the people working for the circus carrying in makeshift stretchers, I guess. Makeshift stretchers, people who are injured. And there are people are asking, is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? And I'm sure maybe one or two people might come to help some of the injured people. I'm going to say that you'll pass by a small group of people who are mourning the death of a loved one. You can see that there are bite marks all over the body that they have brought forward, and some of the kids who might be associated with this person are trying to see what's happening, but the adults are like trying to keep them from seeing the body. So it's a pretty morbid sight, and I think you'll find Balin. He's just with a small group of maybe other kids that's sort of been shoved somewhere, and he looks really scared and really like confused.
when we get to him, I'm gonna basically take my arm off of Pasha just to go to Balin and slowly walk up to him, then kneel down.
Daddy! He'll go over and he'll rush up to you. Daddy, I thought you were dead.
It takes more than a couple dragons to put your father down. And then I'm gonna basically wrap my arms around him. Are you okay, kiddo?
He'll nod. And he said, everybody's talking about the dragons. There were 5 of them? There were 5 dragons? Are they dead?
Yeah, they are. They won't hurt you.
His eyes grow wide. Did you kill the dragons?
I tried to help out, but I didn't do much.
He looks very surprised by this, and he said, "My daddy killed a dragon?"
Not exactly.
He's looking again at all the people that are bringing people on the stretchers, and he actually sees the group of people crying, and he says, "Daddy, why are they crying?"
Because they're having to deal with something very complicated right now.
The dragons?
It's an after effect from them being here.
After effect? He doesn't seem to understand what you're saying.
Balin, those people are crying because they're mourning. Not everyone got out. That's why I rushed back to make sure you were okay.
Some of the color escapes a little bit from his face, and he's beginning to grasp at the reality of what you're saying, and then he says, "Are people dead?"
Unfortunately, yes.
Can they just go to the doctor?
I wish they could.
When you're saying that, some of the other kids around are also looking a little more scared now. And you actually probably hear one of the girls calling out and saying, "I want my daddy. Where's my daddy?" Just asking around. And at the moment, nobody seems to be associated with this girl. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be anyone around, but she's just going around asking if anyone has seen her daddy.
I'd turn to Pasha and be like, can you help?
Yeah. Pasha she's going to go up to this little girl, and she just says, "Now, my dear, at this time, it's really not safe for you to leave the group. Come. And she's going to start ushering her back to the group of children, and she's going to try and, I think she's going to try and distract the children, and she's going to, now then, have any of you ever heard the story of the time Ashkari Kozloon? Because all she has is Kunari's story. She's gonna have any of you heard the story about Kozloon? And she's just gonna...
Are you guys ready to hear a sermon done by Pasha?
Roll a communication, Pasha. Roll me a communication check.
It wouldn't happen to be communication, leadership, or persuasion?
Sure. Actually, I think leadership is probably... I would say leadership.
Okay.
Do that.
That is... Oh, no. That is...
a 10.
10, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're kids. So I think with a 10, you'll at least be able to... I wouldn't say enrapture them, but I think you'd be able to certainly keep them all distracted.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you tell the story, gradually adults will come and acquire the kids, but it looks like they're appreciative of you keeping them occupied in the meantime while all this is happening around you. Anyway, Rousseau, I think you're still talking to Balin.
It's okay, Balin. Everyone, unfortunately, has their time they leave, and for the few people here, that was today.
I want to go home.
And we will. Just right now, we need to help out where we can and make sure these people can get back their own way.
What if the dragons come back?
Then we'll do our best.
But if they come back, would you fight them?
I'm gonna look down, knowing that this is a hard answer to really give. I don't know if I'd particularly fight, but I'd help any way I could, Balin.
But what if you get hurt?
I've been hurt pretty badly before. The important thing is that you accept what you do and you stick to it.
But he says something, but then he stops what he's about to say, and something looks like it's really bothering him.
Balin, please talk to me.
He looks up at you a little bit, and his eyes are starting to water a little bit, and he says, I don't wanna... I don't want another mommy and daddy again.
And I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure you never leave me.
Do you promise?
I'm gonna very solemnly look at him and nod and then force a smile and say, Balin, you won't be able to get rid of me even if you wanted to.
He'll come up to you and he'll just wrap his arms around your waist and just give you a hug.
I'm gonna bend down and give like a small kiss on the top of his head. So, let's go help Pasha sort out these children and try to be as positive as we can.
Tyrion, roll me a medicine roll, please.
Cunning healing?
Yes. Healing, yes.
Just to be sure. Alright, that is...
Jesus.
Wow. I'm rolling too
11,
high today.
13,
The
17, 19.
19.
I'm going to say that there was a human man that seemed to be pretty injured. I think he got bitten right here, like on his shoulder, pretty deep wound. I'm going to say that you were able to ease the pain, stitch him up, and while you're stitching him up, he just keeps talking about how he needs to get back to the big top because his daughter's waiting for him, and he needs to make sure that she's okay. So
I put a hand on him and say, look, you can go back to your daughter, but once you are healed up, you cannot go back to her injured this way. As I continue
he's gonna say, but she's going to be worried about me. I've never left her alone by herself. This is the first time I've left her alone by herself.
I stopped stitching up a bit. I kind of look at him. Then I will bring you to your daughter. And but she sees you, I will mend you. So she can be by your side.
He'll agree to that.
Alright, I'll finish up the stitch that I was doing, then I will kind of help him, get some...
You'll help him. Yep. He's a little heavy, but I don't think Tyrion is particularly large of a person, so...
I have enough strength to, just carry them.
Yeah.
Tyrion's a strong boy.
Yeah, I'm a strong boy.
Just for kicks and giggles, roll me a strength roll, please.
I got my fire bonus because I got +1 strength. Oh, wow. Okay, that's all fours.
Alright. Yeah,
That's
so
16.
By maybe a little bit of adrenaline rush because of what's going on around you, you're in your element, you're actually able to help him into the big top, and he'll actually call out the girl's name, Amelia. And I think during this time, Pasha had just finished one of her Kunari tales, and the girl seems to light up as soon as she hears the voice of her father, and she runs up. And they reunite, and at that point, Tyrion can finish stitching.
Yeah. So I'm just going to lay him down again. I will look at his daughter. I have to heal your father. So keep watch on him. Hold his hand. Pray to the Maker or the gods, whoever you believe, while I help him out. Okay, young one? Will you do that for me?
Okay.
Good.
She'll nod.
I finish up the stitches that I required as I finish them up. I say, all right, you're good to go. Now, don't do any stress on this, otherwise the stitch will break.
The father is going to be very grateful, and he's actually going to reach into his pocket and he'll actually offer you 10 silver pieces.
I only take.
It's all I have.
I take 2. The rest, keep them for you. You and your daughter need them much more than me. I take the 2 silver.
Are you sure?
I give a nod. I have much more to help here anyway. Do not worry. You.
What is it? Did you say your name was?
Tyrion. Dr. Tyrion.
Thank you, Doctor. You've helped more than you know.
I give a nod, a smile. Watch over your little one. They'll need it more. I smile.
All right, and then you go off.
I'm going to go to Big Top. I'm going to help out the other injured people that are there.
After, a lot of the commotion has died down, I sort of want to talk to Rosie, right?
Me too. So maybe we actually go together.
Okay.
Sure, we'll say that both of you go to Rosie. So what Rosie was doing is she was actually going to... You actually find Rosie by one of the dragons. We'll say that she's by the Mistral, and you actually see that she is harvesting stuff like scales. I think she's harvesting, like trying to carve off scales. It's a little tough because, dragon hides are known to be very hardy. So maybe it took her a while to get to the point where she actually was able to extract some scales from this corpse. But yeah, she's just stashing them into a pouch that she has. I'll be a fine specimen.
Hey, we were doing that just to the abyssal dragon.
You seem to be a practiced hand at harvesting.
Oh yeah. Well, she says I sort of grew up with it around the house, I suppose.
Interesting. Were your parents foresters? He sort of leans down to try to help collect the specimens.
She chuckles a bit. Foresters? I'm sorry. She says, my dad, he's from Orzammar. There aren't really any forests in Orzammar.
I guess I could have guessed.
So she says, because there's like this awkward pause now, nobody's saying anything.
Tionthem will say,
So it seems you can adjust more than knives.
I also can sing a decent tune, kind of.
I'm sure, though that's not exactly what's interesting the 2 magic users here.
I don't know. Whenever I try to sing my dad to sleep, he says it's very interesting.
Not to be rude by prying, but you seem to have an affinity with blue light and stopping motion.
Who, me? Oh, that. Oh, well, yes. So, haha. Funny how you mentioned that. Haha.
Indeed.
So, yeah, what about it? Blue lights and all that.
Well, it just seemed I'm practiced in entropy myself. There's this one spell called Paralyze. It locks someone in place. Couldn't help but notice your effect seemed to be quite similar.
Yes.
And
similar.
My effect, is magic.
Yes, that is true. What exactly are you guys getting at?
Well,
I look to Leon.
Do we need to spell it out?
It may be helpful to have someone like you on our team, especially if we fight more dragons.
Oh, yes. Helpful. I can be very helpful, she says.
Okay,
And
fine, I'll say it. By the old gods, how the fuck are you a dwarf using magic?
So now that you ask so politely, yeah, so I'm a very special breed of dwarf. We've kind of evolved over time, and yeah, we don't really advertise so much that we have the unusual ability to cast magic, just because, well, dwarves, like you said, have never been able to cast magic before, and now that we suddenly can, and we've heard all these stories about the circle. No offense, she says, looking at Leon, but we've heard these stories about the circle, and dwarves really don't know all that much about the circle, and we kinda are uneased by their rules and stuff, so that's kind of why we kind of just, you know,
I'm
not
less,
advertise.
I think we're less interested in the secrecy. We both understand that. Just in the how.
yes, the house is
Yes.
very interesting. And also, did Leon feel any connection to the Fade when she was casting her
Yeah,
spells?
Tionthem would have wondered the same.
You guys actually did not feel any connection to the Fade.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say that. Well, both of you roll a magic roll for me, please.
Can I use my entropy focus or no?
I would say no,
Okay.
not for this. Just a general magic, please.
That's 12,
15?
17.
And
17 and 15.
All right. I'm gonna say that Leon. Well, both of you definitely did not notice that she had any connection to the Fade, which again makes sense for a dwarf. I'm gonna say that for Tionthem, you are very convinced that this magic is coming from an entirely different source. Similar to how your chakra abilities does not come from a connection to the Fade.
Right.
Your chakra is from a totally different source.
From Dargan.
So she seems to be also unique in that way. The how, she says, is actually really complicated and not exactly something I can really explain in a very short amount of time out and about here. Maybe we can talk about it later when we have more privacy.
Sure, that sounds great, but
That's fair. I will say, I think I know the answer, but just to double check, we're not at a risk of a dwarven abomination, are we?
No. Not at all.
Good.
That is one thing, that is one huge benefit that we have, is we technically don't really have a connection to the Fade. That's still a thing, and therefore it is impossible for us to turn into an abomination.
man, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't it?
Why? But try to explain that to a circle, and they might not necessarily buy it.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you. Some Templars are a little sword happy.
Yeah, some, not all, but some. Some of them are downright broody, but you get used to that, she says.
Okay, what is all of this talk about circles?
Well, the circles sort of don't like how mages, have freedom and can turn into an abomination at any time. So they try to ensure proper education in mages.
He starts chuckling, and like under his breath, Rosie and Leon might hear him say,
Oh, how the tables have turned, master.
Rosie won't say anything,
"Yeah,
but she'll say,
Leon will have the I really want to unravel this fascinating web of thoughts and opinions about Tionthem, but is not the time. So just gonna look at Tionthem, look at Rosie, and be like, so we should probably travel together, especially because all the dragons and the like.
Well, I don't know that much about dragons, but I figured these scales might be really useful to my dad.
Oh,
Is he able to craft a armor or something of the sort?
Not quite, but he might be able to transform it into some sort of concoction.
Ah, an alchemist or a potion maker.
Yeah.
man, he must be pretty well versed to be able to make things out of dragon scales.
I'd like to think so. Maybe you'll get to meet him someday.
Yeah, maybe try to figure out a little bit more about some secrets. Like,
So if I'm allowed to tag along, where are you letting me tag along to exactly?
Yes,
um,
I don't entirely know where we're going either.
me neither, but I suspect that if we follow a trail of dragons or dragon stories, we would eventually find out.
So I see. So you guys are off to go hunt for dragons.
We're off to go hunt for dragons.
It's the biggest calling I've had so far, and as someone who's 18, I have a lot of life experience. So,
Huh.
Tionthem starts to like I can't do it, but he starts to like almost cough, cackle. It's quiet, but he like tries to hold himself back, but he finds whatever you said immensely hilarious.
Huh. Well, that's different, but okay. I'll tag along for a bit.
Hooray! And then in his mind, it's like party acquire.
Yes.
The
This
character
is a video
selection screen.
game.
Suddenly, Rosie is an option.
Ta-da-ta-da-ta-da-ta. Rosie's an option. Yes.
Acquired party member, Rosie.
I specifically wanted to talk to Nathan.
Same.
Talk about the guns.
Okay. Nathan, as you will definitely find Nathan still out helping to put out fires and trying to just in general get rid of all of the hazardous stuff that arose because of the destruction. And you're actually going to find him where all of the at the shipyard where many people who came visiting came from sea, right there by the ships, and that's also where the airship is docked, including the airship that Nathan and Pasha took to get here. And when you get there, you see that most of the ships are on fire, including the airships. So you've lost your air travel, your air transportation,
God damn it,
unfortunately. Sorry.
Party acquired. Mode of transportation.
Lost.
God.
Everybody knows you can't have air travel until near the end game.
Excuse me, season 1 calls bull.
True. Season 1 was an exception, yes. Okay, so you'll actually find Nathan. He's just finished helping put out the fire from the airship. And he's going to see the two of you approach and says, "Oh, there you guys are. Well, bad news. Looks like that trip back to Ferelden is going to have to be delayed, thanks to the dragons," he says, pointing at the remains of the airship.
Yeah. Bummer.
I suppose I can still send a message to my dad letting him know I'll be late for dinner.
And just who might be your father, Nathan?
He looks towards Pasha.
Pasha kind of puts her hand on kind of Russo's arm and just says, like, she gives Russo a look of like, it's who you think it is, but she says, I'll explain it later.
Well, good to be consoled. I had my suspicions, haven't seen anyone carrying 2 pieces like you've got there.
Oh, he says as he's looking down at his holsters. Yes, they're very fine pieces of equipment. Very fine inventions. Super handy, too.
And very familiar. I know the smell of Gatlock anywhere.
Yes, that is true. They are fueled by Gatlock powder. That has come from your people, actually. It's an invention that I had gotten based on some research that had been conducted in Orlais, actually.
The Auditions came up with this design?
Not the Orlesians, but a very brilliant inventor by the name of Cersei. Maybe you might actually know his son, the Cogs, who actually invented airships.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that does explain a good bit of it.
Cogs is also a extremely amazing inventor, but he's not really all that into weaponry. He sort of has sort of a something morally against creating weapons. But his father pretty much has none of those reservations. It's still all very experimental. And I asked if I would be able to be allowed to try out these 2 prototypes in the field, and so far they seem to be doing a great job.
You know, other than making you stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, I mean, no more than, I guess, some of the mages that are waving around their fingers and causing things to blow up and stuff.
Yeah, but this is all new. It's gonna catch attention faster than them.
Well, I don't really advertise that I have, these 2 boom sticky things next to, down my waist, so